This is All Grit.
Hosted by Animesh and Tanya. Today on the podcast, we are in conversation with an alum of IIM Kozhikode, Girish Iyer. After a stint in Tech Mahindra, he joined the MBA program at IIM-K, and thereafter he kick-started his career in data sciences with Citibank in 2009. Since then, he has worked in multiple industries, geographies, and companies. He is currently an assistant vice president of portfolio management at Hudson Advisors, Japan. Girish shares his love for data sciences while stressing the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone and keeping that curiosity alive.
Hey Girish, welcome to the podcast. Really excited to have you here and can't wait to begin the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to this particular forum. And yeah, looking forward to having a good conversation.
It is always great when an alum comes on the podcast. And before we start the interview, it would be nice if you can give a brief introduction about yourself and your professional career.
Yeah, sure. So I am Girish, and I graduated in 2009. So I was part of this PGP 11 batch from IIM Kozhikode. And after that, I spent some time working in India, close to 4 years. And then after that, I have worked in Germany, Thailand, and now I am currently working in Japan. So I am actually living in Japan from like close to 5 years now. Yeah, this year I will be completing 5 years.
All right, awesome. So, we'd like to start from the beginning. So, you had a brief stint with Tech Mahindra just after your engineering, and that's when you joined your MBA in IIM Kozhikode, like you mentioned. So, what were you looking for when you joined this program back in 2007?
Yeah, I completed my engineering in 2006, and then after that I have worked with Tech Mahindra as a software engineer for like 1 year. And if you look back, like in 2007, definitely doing MBA from IIM was very attractive, and it had this like a kind of a potential of uplifting a person to a totally like a entirely new level from where he had this kind of a freedom, where he will be having a kind of a freedom to make better career choices. So I was also looking something like that. So I just wanted to kind of, I mean, that's some of the things that were in my mind was like having the financial stability, and at the same time, like having the kind of freedom to lead a very balanced life, and also pursue some of my personal goals in addition to enjoying the work environment. So these were the things that I was looking for when I decided to do MBA. And in addition to looking at the potential that probably the MBA could have brought, I was also very confident that, I was largely confident that I would be able to do it. So I felt like I had the right skill set, the knowledge, and probably even the right bend of mind to not only like just clear the selection process, but also perform well during the course. So yeah, it was both a combination of like the potential that it was offering, and also the confidence that I had at that particular point of time that I will be able to do it without without struggling a lot.
Right. Now, one of the interesting things between you and us is that much like our batch, which has suffered through a pandemic, your batch graduated just after the financial crisis, right? So, do you think that reflected in the way that you approach the placement season? And are there any lessons from that experience that you've kind of carried forward in your life with you?
Okay. Yeah, so actually, I did my summer internship at Citibank, and Citibank was probably, if I'm not wrong, I think it was like one of the first company to. It was probably the first company to visit our campus to recruit for summer internship. So I really enjoyed the interview process. I mean, I felt very confident while answering some of the questions that the interviewers were asking. So I think if I remember correctly, the interviewers were asking me some questions around the probability and some of the puzzles, which I was able to crack at that particular point of time. And when I also did my summer internship, so I was enjoying my work. So I felt confident doing the analytics work, and I think it probably also reflected in the kind of an interactions that I had with my peers and with my guide, with my managers, with all my colleagues. So I was fortunate enough to get a pre-placement offer. So yeah, so actually when the financial crisis happened and the placement situation worsened in 2009, so I just decided to accept the pre-placement offer that I had at that particular point of time and did not actually participate in the placement, yeah, process. So I think the lesson that I probably learned during this whole experience was like, if you are enjoying something, then probably you should not hold something back for the future. You should do your best at that particular moment. So yeah, this is something that I learned, because you never know, like probably it could be just the life changing experience or an event, life changing performance or an event. And yeah, this was the lesson that I learned, I think, probably from this whole episode. And then I try to kind of, I do try to remember it, like whenever, uh, yeah, whenever there is something similar going on in my life.
I think pandemic was very similar to what we faced in 2008, in different ways though. But the way we started living was quite similar. Now, after your after you accepted the Citibank offer, the Citibank PPO, you went into data analytics. So I just wanted to gauge into that. Now, data analytics was a function which was privy to top consulting firms or blue chip companies at that time, right? And it started evolving in India in 2010, and you joined Citibank in 2011 as in the data analytics function, right? So what made you choose data analytics over other popular career choices at that point, like product manager or a brand manager or an investment banker or PVC, right? I can understand investment banker and PVC are then 2009 would have been a little difficult, but other career choices would have been there as well.
So yeah, I mean, I summer interned with the analytics division and I got a pre-placement offer with the analytics division. So I joined directly the analytics division in 2009. So you were correct, like probably the analytics and data science as such, like it was yet to evolve in, especially in India at that particular point of time. But like I said, like when I worked on my summer internship project, I really enjoyed the work and I felt like I mean, I will be able to perform well in this kind of a project. So although I did not appear for like kind of other interviews during the final placement process, I was quite happy with with the decision that I was making at that particular point of time, like accepting the pre-placement offer. Uh, Probably like if it would have been some other year, I mean, if the financial crisis would not have happened, then there is a possibility that I might have explored other opportunities and then probably would have made the decision. Uh, so yeah, in 2009, I think it was relatively simpler for me to kind of just go with with the bird in hand.
Yeah. No, what I'm kind of gathering from the conversation is that you sometimes you do what you have to do and then you try to make the best out of the situation, right? And I think that's kind of a lesson that we are trying to come to terms with as well after this MBA kind of at the end of it. So now after your time at Citibank, you joined eBay in 2011, which is arguably the most interesting time in the global e-commerce space with giants like Amazon expanding all over the globe. So we would love for you to describe the kind of landscape that it was back in the time when you joined eBay, and how was it like to be a part of this culture at its early stages?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so eBay was, yeah, like you said, like it was definitely a very exciting time for e-commerce, not just for e-commerce, but it was also very exciting time for the whole analytics, data science, and this big data, machine learning. So all these phrases were becoming more and more popular. I think probably the like lot of advancement happened very rapidly in the area of this data storage and processing power and all those stuff. And especially these tech companies like e-commerce and some other tech companies, they wanted to use all this stuff so as to create a competitive advantage. And for some companies, maybe it also became a matter of survival. So 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 with eBay, even within eBay, the team was growing very rapidly. And my role at eBay was based out of India. However, I was actually working for eBay.com website, so which is the US website. So yeah, so I also had an opportunity to work uh, based out of the San Jose office for some time. So which was their headquarters. So this was again an enlightening experience for me. So I always felt like, I mean, before this, like I had just imagined like how it would be to work directly based out of headquarters. But when I got this opportunity for a brief period of time, then I felt like there is a lot of value you derive when you are working directly based on the headquarters. So it's like, I mean, you have access to so many different product managers, you have access to so many different teams. You don't have to wait for like your query to get resolved. So yeah, so this was again a very enlightening experience for me. And so overall, I think this landscape was growing, and I consider myself very fortunate that I got to be part of this particular industry during this particular period. And even outside of work, like I got because of some of the work that I saw that was happening in eBay, although I did not directly work on many of the stuff, but I still got very curious about some of the advancements that were happening in this data science and machine learning area. So I just decided to like learn few stuff on my own. So I just so in my free time I would try to like kind of learn on my own by joining some online courses, by participating in some data science competitions and all. So although at that time I was not associating much value to it, but looking back I feel like I did the right thing because going forward, like it helped me a lot in understanding some of the future problems that I will encounter even with other organizations. So it was it was a very enriching period for me, both within eBay as well as outside.
So, I think moving forward, you moved to Germany. You changed the geography completely after 4 years in India. So, we want to know two things from that. You joined Good Game Studios in Germany, which is again, you did one more industry shift. And from here, what was your experience like working in Germany versus working in India? And what motivated you to make the shift? And how did you make the shift when you moved to Germany?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, like I spent like close to 4 years in India, and throughout my career in India, like I had been working for actually foreign businesses. So I had been supporting businesses in US, UK, Ireland, Netherlands. So yeah, I mean, a part of and also when I got an opportunity to work based out of the headquarters for eBay for a brief period of time. So a part of me like wanted to see like how it would be exactly to how it would be to kind of work directly based out of headquarters. So once I felt mentally ready to kind of explore this opportunity, I actually started looking for some opportunities. So I just narrowed. I mean, I did some preliminary research and all, and then I kind of narrowed down my focus on certain countries, like maybe some countries in the Western Europe and the Northern Europe and UK. So and then I tried to like register in different job portals. I mean, it was like just kind of a basic job search. I tried to register in some job portals, and I also tried to reach out to some people through some of the data science forums. And yeah, so after some persistence, then this role kind of worked. I got this particular opportunity, and yeah, I decided to go ahead with this. So this was a kind of a fixed term contract. However, yeah, I was mentally I was feeling ready to take this risk. So yeah, and after I moved there, I would say like definitely there was a huge difference. I mean, both in terms of culture as well as in the work ethic and all between Germany and India. So I did not foresee like uh, all the differences there probably. But in my mind, I was ready for like anything that will come my way. So, although there were many differences, I did not feel like I did not anticipate it. So, it was a good learning experience. So, I think, yeah.
Right. So this is actually, I mean, for both of us to listen to this is quite interesting because just after Germany, you decided to then move to Thailand, which was again a country, culture, and industry shift for you. So, what prompted you to make such bold moves so early on in your career? Were you consciously giving your career a particular global direction, if we were to put it that
Yeah,
way?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. So yeah, so actually once I landed in Germany, so like I said, like it was a fixed term contract. So when my contract was about to expire, then I wanted to look for, I wanted to keep my options. So that is when I thought like maybe I should explore some options here and there. So I was very surprised actually to when I started getting job offers from many different parts of the world, like which I did not think of before. So like I was getting offers from like countries like Argentina, Brazil, New Zealand, Israel. So there were so many countries from where I started getting job offers and interview calls. So yeah, when my contract expired at that time, I just decided to go ahead with the one of the best options that I had, which was with Agoda. So Agoda was the role was based out of Thailand, and again it was their headquarters for all functional purposes. And they also used to provide, I mean, there were a lot of expats working for Thailand, and Thailand was also very close to India. So I think it satisfied many of the criteria that I had at that particular point of time. And that was the reason, like, I decided to go ahead with Agoda and decided to move to Thailand. At the same time, like, I think also some of the, it's like when I was in Germany, I would also, so I do like history a lot. So I think yeah, I mean, even when I was in India, so I used to read many stuff like about wars and all, not just the modern wars, but even about the medieval wars. And so I used to like these kind of stuff. So when I was in Germany, I will travel and I will try to learn a bit more about the history and about the culture and all those stuff. So I think these things I enjoyed. So when I started getting job offers from different parts of the world, I thought like maybe this will also give me an opportunity to learn about some other culture and some other yeah history about some other place. So yeah, this was this also motivated me to like uh, give my career a kind of a global direction. International. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think that's all. That's what all of us hope for is to kind of combine our passion and profession somehow. And you got to travel, which was something that you're looking for from historical, or from the travel perspective. And then obviously you're moving to these exciting roles all over the globe. So talking about that, from 2006 to 2016, you've kind of jumped from tech to banking, advertising, e-commerce, telecom, gaming, and with Agoda, you ventured into the travel industry. So, while you're mainly dealing with data in all these roles, do you think different industries start behaving similarly in the way they operate after a point of time? And what are some of the transferable skills, according to you, that you have found useful in all or most of the industries that you've been a part of?
I, uh, yeah, I think especially in the area of data science and machine learning, there are many transferable skills. I mean, um, basically uh, it- so there are many. I think in from my experience, I feel like it takes like about 3 to 4 months to learn the language of the industry or the language of the company, and then after that, there are many things that can be implemented in a particular company which you have implemented probably in some different industry. So after, of course, after like taking into consideration the intricacies of that particular industry. So yeah, so when I look back, I feel like there are many transferable skills, be it like being familiar with the various data cleaning techniques, or maybe even familiar with the various machine learning techniques or the predictive techniques. So these techniques probably it has given value to some, it has created value in some industries, but it can also be explored in other industries as well. And I feel like it should be done a lot more often than probably it is being done now, like carrying the best practices from one industry to another.
In 2021, which industry do you think still requires data sciences? Like, still there is a lot of scope of data sciences in which industry? Like, if you have to pick one.
Okay. Mm, I think, I mean, picking one is actually very difficult, but I think there are,
If you can okay, if you can pick like two, three industries where you think penetration is still not that much.
I think probably the private equity space. I mean, the
Okay.
investment decisions can still use more data science. I mean, I know like it is probably very difficult because it is, mm, I mean, the human emotions play a very big role in this investment decisions, but at the same time, there is also a lot of opportunity to, uh, yeah, introduce data science in this particular, I mean, the quant funds and all those stuff. It can definitely try to create value. Probably it might not happen very soon, but yeah, it is worth exploring this area.
Okay, so you went on to do data sciences in Japan after like trotting half the globe. You went to Japan and you started working with Rakuten, which is a great player when it comes to e-commerce. And this was the first time when your industries intersected, right? So this was the first time you were in e-commerce and you were in e-commerce again.
Yeah.
So were you able to draw any parallels from your last experience? And because when you look at it, eBay is American and Rakuten is Japanese, right? And both of them are big players in this space. So were you able to draw any parallels culturally or work-wise?
Culturally, I would say like there is not many parallels as such. However, I mean, both of them were operating in e-commerce, so definitely like their goals were same. I mean, their goals were same, and probably many of the business metrics were same. But at the same, and like when I joined Rakuten again in 2016. I also noticed like a lot of advancement has happened in this past. I mean, in this past 4 5 years, and the advancement was really very rapid. So now there is a lot more focus on the data, machine learning, artificial intelligence than it used to be in 2011, 2012. And also the role with Rakuten was based out of headquarters, and so which again was very a lot more enriching and fulfilling for me. So because now I had access not just to the e-commerce business, but I also had access to their banking division, their credit card divisions, their travel divisions. So the kind of solutions that I was working on was not just restricted to the e-commerce business, but it could be deployed in many other areas of Rakuten as well. So I think this experience was a lot more enriching and fulfilling uh, than eBay for multiple reasons, because of the advancement that happened in last 4 5 years, and also because Rakuten had operations in so many different businesses, and I had access to all those operations.
Now, coming to the present, finally, after 9 years of extensive international experience at the forefront of data transformation, you now look at portfolio management and reporting as an AVP at Hudson Advisors in Japan. Now, instead of asking you about the changes in industry or the shift in this particular advisory role, could you tell us what do you look for in data science and analytics project when you're looking to choose one? And more importantly, during an interview when you're kind of learning about the mission which is being pitched to you, what gets you excited?
Okay. I think yeah. So yeah, basically like when I'm working on any kind of a data science initiative, the thing that really gets me excited is probably the potential to make an impactful contribution. So whenever I'm engaging in any discussion where I have to kind of provide a data science based solution to a business problem, I try to understand the stakeholders language. I try to take a step back and try to understand probably what are the kind of existing solutions that they have for the particular problem, and which helps me in understanding like uh, the whole pipeline. It's not just about the project in hand, it's also about the whole pipeline. It's all about like all the data that is how exactly the it is generated, and how exactly it is generated so that it can be used to provide a better solution. I think this is very important because beyond a certain point, I think the output cannot be better if you have a correct input. So yeah, this is something that I try to understand, especially during the interview process. And when after completing a after completing the data science project, one thing that I always try to keep in mind is like, even though I might end up trying very complex stuff, but I try to simplify it uh, for the sake of my stakeholders, so that they can take it forward from there. I think like it is very essential to kind of simplify it and explain it to them in the language that they understand and they feel comfortable with, so that your project end up kind of creating the impact that you want, and they can actually implement it uh, at a much larger scale so as to benefit the organization. And this is the kind of a success criteria that one should a data scientist or a person working on this particular area should have in mind.
So we wanted to ask you, Girish, if you had to condense your career and give a crux of it, what would it be?
Yeah. So I think like there are quite a few things that has gone well for me, and one of the most important reason probably that I feel that things have went my way in some like a critical juncture was probably like I have just kept my eyes and ears open, and and whenever a right opportunity comes, then I mean, I would not say like I have grabbed all the opportunities, but yeah, but in some of the opportunities that I have successfully managed to grab, I think like I managed to do it because at that particular moment of time, I did not worry too much about my failures in the past, or like I also did not, I did not feel very anxious about what lies ahead of me. So I think this was one of the reasons. Like whenever I have uh, performed in this kind of a situation, I felt like it has worked for me. So yeah, I think this is something. And at the same time, one more thing that probably I do consciously is like I throw myself in different kind of a situations. So I mean, I I force myself to do something that I have not done before. So this is again, I have got assistance from many people. Like I have met probably the right kind of a people at uh, right point of time in my life. So I should be grateful for that. Yeah.
So just like that Citibank interview, which is close to your heart, is there anything, any what do you call it, failure, right, which is close to your heart? You tried to do something, you were in a position which was very new to you, and you were not able to perform as per your own expectations, or the outcome was not as per your expectation. Is there any instance which is close to your heart when we talk about this context?
Mm. I think even the eBay experience, like I probably wanted to do a lot more within the organization. However, I mean, the like I said, like probably the team was growing very fast, and so team was growing very fast, and because of that, the whole organization was felt a bit chaotic. The team felt a bit chaotic. So if it would have been a bit more settled, and if I would have also had a bit more knowledge uh, in the area that I was working, then probably I could have done a lot more. But that phase was also very enriching for me because I did manage to learn like a lot of new stuff, even though it was outside outside the work. But still, I got curious about many things, and then it led to like a lot of personal development.
Considering all that, what actionable advice would you give to people who are in their MBAs who want to pursue a career in data sciences?
I think, I think like there are multiple ways of doing this probably, but I will just share the way that has worked for me. So, like I shared before as well. So, I think, and there are many online courses available these days. So, I think probably in 2011, there are not many online courses and all. But nowadays, I think there are many online courses that's available, and it's also pretty good from what I have heard and what I have seen. So, I think people who are interested in data science, they should definitely do that. And while doing these online courses or while even participating in some of these online competitions and all, I feel like one should try to do it hands-on. please, I mean, try to do all the assignments quite diligently, especially in the beginning, because I personally have also learned many new stuff only when I actually try to implement whatever I have learned. So theoretical knowledge is one thing, but at the same time, only if you try to do it yourself, then you will figure out like many new stuff which probably you did not think of, and it would help a long way going forward. So you might be spending a lot of time in the beginning, but yeah, it's worth it. It's like anything else, probably you should also try to surround yourself uh, with people who create the right ambience for you to learn and develop yourself. So this again is very important. This again I try to do from time to time. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful advice. Now we are almost at the end of the podcast, and I want to ask you a question that we ask all our guests. What was the hardest decision that you've ever had to take in your career so far?
Mm, I uh, I think, I mean, I hope like my hardest decision is yet to come. But jokes apart, probably like moving out of India and going to Germany, knowing that it was a kind of a limited period contract. Uh, it was a bit risky. I mean, looking back, it feels a bit risky. But at that time, actually, I did not feel that it was risky. I just felt mentally ready to take that risk at that particular point of time. And thankfully, it worked out from that point on. But now, if I look back, it feels like a bit risky decision to take at that.
It is a very interesting perspective. It was risky in retrospect. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, at that particular point of time, I felt confident. I did not feel like I was taking a very big risk. But now I feel that it was risky.
That I think that happens because as you grow older, you become a little more risk averse day by day, and
Yeah.
your risk-loving nature goes down and down. I think that's the natural course of things. So before going to the last question, I would like to I would like to say the small summary of the interaction which we have had. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we have heard what is a global citizen, somebody who has lived all over the world, but I don't know what you call somebody who has worked all over the world, worked in so many industries, and knows so much about the geographies, the cultures, and the industry they have worked in, right? Albeit that you have worked in data sciences, which was a critical function in all those industries, right? And currently you are in private equity. And with all your instance of Citibank, the interview which you gave for Citibank, you said that you enjoyed the interview and you enjoyed solving the problems which came your way, and the failures which you keep close to your heart, right? I don't think that we could have had a bit more like enriching conversation than this, right? So now coming to the last question, there was a lockdown, there is a pandemic, right? So what did you do during the pandemic? Did you start a new hobby? Did you do something like extra, or something interesting which you want to share?
Oh, actually, I think I have done very interesting stuff during this period. So yeah, I think like initially it was a bit difficult for me to kind of get used to this new normal. I mean, I'm not used to working from home a lot, but yeah. So nowadays, like although the office is open, but still like most of the stuff is done from home. And I think because of this working from home, I have also saved a lot of time that I used to spend on travel. And yeah, this additional time that I have saved, like I have used it to kind of plan some activities that can be done safely during the weekends, like some of the adventure sports or some travel or these kind of a stuff. So there are still certain kind of a stuff that can be done safely. There are also many learnings from this pandemic. I mean, uh, although like many changes have been brought about because of this pandemic, but I feel like even after an effective vaccination comes out, many things are going to uh, I mean, many changes that has been brought about by this pandemic will probably continue. Like maybe there will not be so many business travels as it used to be. Maybe the personal travel will pick up a lot earlier than the business travel, but probably the business travel might not happen to the same extent. And Yeah, so and also maybe the remote work will also continue. I think even many of the organizations have realized like the positive impact the remote work can have on their bottom line. So probably even after the pandemic gets over, so they will still like to encourage people to work from home a little bit more. So we should just get used to kind of communicating our ideas more on the camera. So yeah, I think I am also trying to do that. So yeah.